the nation of motivation, where we work together to encourage our future generations to see that nothing will stop us from being courageous and brave. With us right now, we have two brave men, and actually, it's three of us because we all believe in ourselves. Because the more we see it in ourselves, the more we bring it. So today, we are going to be talking about being present, the arts of being present and being in the moment. Because the moment you're in the moment, you know that you are here to grow, change, and live the life that you are destined to live. It's all up to you to believe in yourself. With that being said, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
So I'll start it off. Darian, glad to be here. Been been a long journey here with Kervin and uh, getting it started with Bart. So looking forward to the conversation today. Bart, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Bart Berkey. I'm the founder of a company called Most People Don't. I had the pleasure of meeting these two gentlemen at a coffee shop in Leesburg, Virginia. There was an immediate bond, an immediate connection. Uh, I'm going to be releasing the podcast in which I had the pleasure of interviewing two of these gentlemen in about 30 minutes or so. And Kervin's going to take it away. So we're all local to Northern Virginia. I come from the world of hospitality. I was with Ritz-Carlton for 16 years, and I had to make a decision. What do I want to do pursuing my passion? And it really came very easily to me that I want to make sure that I'm helping people. So thus the
Mm,
company started. Most people don't, and excited to be able to share some thoughts and wisdom with all of these great folks listening.
yes, same here. So to introduce myself, my name is Kervin Hart. It is my brand. I named it FA, free always and forever. It means an expression of just saying, hey, I'm free no matter what. And no matter how I think, I know I'm worthy of everything in this world. So that's the image and what I portray. And every day I encourage people on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, all social medias, using it to spread out a positive message. So if you don't mind bringing up my message that I have, it's a little poster that I want to give to the kids who want to see something. It says, see it, or I'm sorry, I apologize. Think it, want it, get it. So when you think you want something, you want it. So it's like the desire to want it. And then you go after it and you get it. So for me, I said, okay, let me start thinking about things that I want in my life. And I started changing my life. And I said, hey, okay, what do I need to do? So I started journaling and writing down things that I wanted to implement in my life. And I started actually applying it to myself. That's how you get into the vision or the present moment to say, hey, this vision I have for myself, I'm going to put action behind it and create it into my reality or make it into my reality. So the more I started doing these things daily, it became me running my life the way I wanted to, living the life I wanted to, because I wrote what I wanted daily. I meditated on it and I put action behind it, meaning all that I said I wanted, I did. So it was easy for me to do it, but I'm not sure about you guys. So like, do you guys have a ritual that you do for yourself to keep yourself in a certain energy, certain frequency? You're saying, hey, I'm here for a purpose. I'm going after it. What do you guys do?
So I could start off. For me, what really seems to set the stage for me with pretty much anything I do. So I do a lot of meditation, especially like mindfulness. I've been reading this book recently that talks about how being in the present moment, being mindful, is how you tap into like the most potent state, almost like a godlike state that you're born with, where you're present. You're not in the past. You're not seeing things through past eyes or through future eyes. So I really just try to um, first slow everything down. I feel like we have so much going on always. So I slow everything down. Really start to focus on one thing. Eliminate all distractions from my mind until I feel like I'm one with my mind. And then I think about what I'm trying to achieve in that moment and just visualize me achieving it in different ways, different techniques. I might visualize myself in, another dimension that might exist if you believe in that thing, already having achieved it there. So let me pull it into my life here. Or I'll visualize right now what it looks like to get to the next stage and what it feels like. and just stimulate all my senses in that regard. So I use a lot of meditation, a lot of visualization, and journaling. And the more you can really pull in, the more you can just feel the attraction to what you're trying to accomplish.
What about yourself, Bart?
Yeah, I'm just beginning to get into meditation, thanks to both of you. I'm very visual, so I have to write things down, and I will write things down. Whether it's good thoughts, I'll write them down on one page under G, and if they're bad thoughts, I have a page under B. And what I try to do is recognize the bad thoughts that might be coming into my mind and identify, well, what do they have in common? And do I really need to worry about the bad thoughts? And, and I shared this study with you both, right? Each person has 60,000 thoughts a day going through their mind. 95% of those thoughts are repetitive and 80% are negative. But the majority of the things that we're worrying about, we don't have to worry about because they don't come to fruition. So recently, I guess you would call it journaling. I'm writing things down in my big old binder. Again, B for bad, G for good. And just seeing what they have in common, and can I get rid of those bad thoughts? And that's what I'm working on right now, right? If I go to social media and it doesn't make me feel good, if I go to LinkedIn to see that a person that I used to work with was promoted to senior vice president, and I start feeling bad for myself, I'm going to try to avoid those things. And I need to be in the mindset of, hey, there's abundance. I'm happy that that person got promoted. I'm happy that that person got another gig in Saudi Arabia. I'm happy that that person got a gig in Boston, because there's abundance. So it's monitoring the good, the bad, and focusing in on the good. And when we're talking about this theme of being in the present, I need to share this with you both and with everyone that's listening. My son went to a concert the other day, DC area 930 Club. The performer was Sammy Ray. A great performer, Sammy Ray and Friends. And she stopped the concert at a certain point, and she said, I want everyone to do this. Put your phones away, put them down, put them in your pocket, turn them off. Music stopped.
She probably freaked them all out.
Right.
Like, my phone.
Yeah, shut your eyes and just realize what we're doing. We're all together. We're at the 930 Club in Washington, D.C., and we are experiencing a concert together. 900, 1,000 other people are joining us. Let's just soak this in the present. And I just thought that was so powerful. I believe we need to do that more. And I'll share with you just quickly. Yesterday, I was interviewed on a podcast. Another friend of ours, United Charitable, invited me to be on their podcast. And when I was driving there, for some reason, my cellular service went down. So thank goodness I knew how to get to their office location. But when I got there, I was like, if I don't have cell service, I might as well just turn this phone off. And I did. And for an hour for the podcast interview, I wasn't worried about anything dinging or beeping or chiming because I was there, right? Just like we are doing right now. We are here. So that's kind of what I've been learning recently, Kervin.
The art of the here and now is powerful, and I've been doing that with my community daily. They'll ask me like, hey, can we meditate? When have you ever had people come up and say, hey, can we meditate? It's not common, but when you start doing it and start talking about it, it's like, hey, this is an art of me getting in connection with myself and saying, hey, I'm right here right now. And I literally would do breathing exercises with them, saying, hey, let's breathe, let's slow it all down. Because when you slow it all down, you realize like, hey, this isn't all way too much for me. I need to just start letting my load, let go. Life is not meant to be so serious. You're not supposed to be carrying all this weight for everybody to like hold you back. It's really you holding yourself back. You saying, hey, I can't be happy. Yes, you can. Why can't you? You can have all the things you want in this life. It's just up to you to say, hey, I want it, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get it. I'm going to switch to the other side. Go ahead real quick.
I just wanted to make a point off of what you're speaking with right now, is I'm reading this book called The Power of Now. And one thing I found that was really interesting within the book is there's a lot of people don't consider this even when thinking about right here, right now, but there's depths to it. And like sometimes you could be looking at being in the present moment, but you see it through the past eyes. And typically, whenever you um, look at things through the eyes of your past, that's when ego comes into play. And when you see anything through your ego, that's when you're not performing at your most optimal level. So if you can really master the state of being of now, which is basically not being split between the past, the present, you're just one. It's that oneness, that wholeness that is life. Like that's creation. Like that's the essential essence of being. So I just wanted to bring that point because that really drove home to me. Like if you want to be at your most optimal self, yeah, you got to put time to, reflect on the past, plan for the future, but you want to be at your best state of being the majority
You
of the
want to be your
time.
own best cheerleader. You want to be your own best cheerleader because if you're not your own best friend, how will you see yourself win? Like I've been literally telling people daily, like if you don't cheer yourself on, who will? Because your belief in yourself will carry you so far. Today, for me, I set words and adjectives for every day. So today is Faith Friday. So today I emphasize on like telling people to have faith in themselves, having faith over fear, meaning I have faith over the fear of the unknown. The moment you start giving power to something outside of yourself, is the more you give fear to it. You give it power to something outside of you. Give it all to you. Just say, hey, you know what? This is for me. I'm here to see myself achieve greatness. I feel great. I do great things. I love myself. I speak the way I want to. I see the life I want to live. I know myself better than anybody else. The moment you say, I know myself better than anybody else, is the moment you let go of fear. Because when you say, hey, I know myself and my purpose, you live in it. You let go of fear. You say, hey, I'm here to live this. And no matter what anybody says, I stop it like a blood. You see, like a swat, like I swat it like a fly. People will come in and try to tell me how to feel about myself. How do you allow somebody else to put words on you?
It's a good
Anybody can
question.
answer?
It's a good question. I think
Yeah.
I think what goes hand in hand with that is a lot of people, they're seeking happiness, but ultimately what they fall into is pleasure. That there's a difference between happiness and pleasure. Pleasure is a more short-sighted form of happiness, but true happiness comes from within. Pleasure is
Mhm.
usually external. So you have to find that happiness within. And ultimately, I think happiness would be a higher form of intelligence because if you're at your most optimal happiness, it's typically helping others. It's typically things that they never bring this happiness. But it gets confused with pleasure where if you pursue something it makes you happy, but then it did
It
this
becomes a
to somebody
disease.
else, it wasn't happiness because you knew go in the back of your mind, you knew going in, this is how it's going to affect this other person, and eventually it might lead to this unhappiness, but I'm happy right now. It's about
Mhm.
long everlasting happiness. And that's something that the 14th Dalai Lama really preaches a lot about as well. It's just understanding the difference between happiness and pleasure. And I think that's really important to bring to light is there's a distinction there that is important to find within yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I
and I think
start,
that, yeah, Kervin, I was going to say that could be a whole other conversation, right? The difference between happiness and pleasure. Kervin, do you mind if I share a quick story?
sure.
So I was getting ready to do my TED talk, and at this point, I guess it was last year, the year before, and there was a waiting room, and it was filmed in New York City at a college, and we were waiting for certain people to come in, and I didn't know if they were with a TED Talk organization, TED group, or if they were speakers, or if they were family and friends. And I saw someone come in, and she was wearing all white, and she just radiated peace. She radiated happiness. And she was listening to something dressed in all white. And I thought, whatever she's listening to, I want to listen to the same thing because she just radiated. That's the best way of saying it. Radiated this peace and content. And
Mhm.
end up that she's one of the other TEDx speakers. She's the first ordained Jain monk. I had the pleasure of interviewing her on my podcast as well. And I went up and I told her that. I just said, there's this inner peace about you. And that's what she has been studying as a Jain monk. And we don't have time to get into what that practice is, but it essentially is, taking care of yourself and being at peace in nature and not being harmful or mean to other people. That's what she radiated. And when she radiated that, and if she believes in that, and just think about when people say when people pass, rest in peace. Just imagine if you are at peace and you are content and you are fulfilled, no matter what anyone then says to you about you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I had this conversation on the podcast when I was being interviewed yesterday about, well, why are they negative toward themselves? So if I present in front of a group of 100 people and I get 99 people, A+, highly recommend, best speaker I've ever heard, and yet one person said, well, he told too many stories, I'm going to focus probably on that one and not on that 99. But that shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter at all. So how can we get to the point where we are happy, we are content, we are fulfilled, we know that we deserve good things, we are good enough, and what other people think of us is really irrelevant? How can we get to that level? And I don't know the answer, and I'm curious for your answers.
I could start first. It starts with self-love and self-acknowledge, like self-knowledge of knowing yourself and loving yourself, and really just saying, hey, I'm here for me, and nobody here is going to stop me from getting my goal done. The more you start to cheer yourself on, the more you see it. I've always been my own best cheerleader, my own best friend. And then the more you start surrounding yourself with people who encourage you to go after this goal, and you start listening to the outside world, you just listen to your camp, the people who say, hey, you can do it. You stick with them because they are the only ones who are going to cheer you on. And after that, you don't worry about anything else. You're living in your purpose. You're fulfilled because you're saying, hey, I'm only here to get this message out. And that's it. Listen to your camp.
Yeah, and I've never heard that expression before. And Darian, I know you're going to chime in with something here, but it kind of reminds me of, even this is the first time the three of us are doing this collectively, and we're working out the technology. We believe it's being streamed live on LinkedIn. We believe it's being streamed live on YouTube and Facebook, but we're not necessarily sure. We're figuring it out. And what I appreciate about the three of us so far, and I have many friends that I feel the same way about, you're like, we're going to figure this out, right? If we worry about not getting it right, we probably won't do it. So this is our camp. I support you both, and you support me. We're going to give this a whirl because we're not doing it for us. And Kervin, I just learned this from you the other day. Why are you doing 2 TikToks a day? And you said it's not for you, right? Could you remember
for
that
my
answer?
community. Yeah, it's for my community. I don't do this stuff for me. I'm the facilitator. I literally just do this for my people who follow me to help, facilitate more growth, change, and nurturing within the world. Because the more I plant seeds, the more we see it sprout out and say, hey, no more fear. We're going after this goal, motivation, because it's all the new nation of motivation. That's what we're building. It starts with us planting seeds to believe in ourselves. And we have a camp right here.
Darren, you were going to say something about the camp aspect?
No, I was just going to elaborate a little more on contentment, because I had seen a TED Talk and read a couple books on it recently that I thought was interesting. How contention can almost be categorized in 2 forms. One, contentment from accomplishment, achievement, where, if you set goals, you achieve all these goals you want to obtain, you'll find contentment in your life that you've built. The only downside of that, though, and this is something that's kind of preached within Buddhism, is the only downside of that is that you're still relying on external factors. So if you can't have everything, and when you get faced with that wall, that can disrupt your level of contentment. But what's more everlasting, and this is something practiced a lot in amongst monks. There's this one book by Jay Shetty, How to Think Like a Monk. um, that really talks about changing your outlook to get contentment. Like if everything you experience today, like say um, your car, you got in an accident and now your car is gone. If you're looking through the past, you're thinking, I had a car, now I don't. I'm unhappy. If you're and this circles back to what we've been talking about. If you're just in the present moment, mindful, you're not really thinking about the past, the future, which can be hard. But if you're just in that present moment, um, you know, we don't know if we've been alive before, if we're gonna live again, and you're just taking in the experience. Like this is life. This is another day of life. I've experienced something that maybe I'll never experience again. Maybe I will, but you just take in the full experience and you're fully mindful in that moment, and your outlook is totally different of not what have I gained, what have I lost, but this is just an experience, and what can I take from this experience in
What
this
can you
present
learn?
moment?
And that right there, Kervin and Darian, is the new nation of motivation. And I know we didn't talk about the backgrounds of Kervin and Darian, but they are military veterans, and they served in Iraq, and they served at the Pentagon. And here you have two incredibly unique gentlemen with a very special friendship that are so intellectually curious about how can we live our lives to the fullest. How can we be present and accounted for? How can we be where our feet are? And when you're looking for that, because you both are so thirsty, all three of us are thirsty, and then we find some things, whether it's through a book or a podcast or a story, a conversation, a gratitude stone, and it's an experiment.
Long walk.
And, right? And then we're passing those things out through channels like this. Kervin through your TikTok, Darian through your YouTube, me through LinkedIn, whatever and however. But this is the new nation of motivation. People that are thirsty, that are giving out tidbits to those people that are also thirsty.
That's a good way of saying it, because I always tell people to keep their cup full. That's the greatest analogy. Is like your cup should always be full, and then when it overflows, that's what you give to everybody else. Never empty your cup for anybody else. That mentality will having you live for yourself more. You'll be more self-reliant and self-observant of what you do with your time, your energy, and who you surround yourself with. Because ultimately, your time is your greatest asset on this planet. What can we not get back? Time.
Yeah. So, Kervin, I have a thought just to insert here, and I'm playing around in the studio, so bear with me as I'm changing images, just keeping people attentive. So, people are listening, and this is recorded, so it's going to be shared again and again and again. Grateful. And people are understanding and being like, "Yes, I'm with you. Yes, I get it. Yes, I have negative self-talk. Yes." What are a few things? Maybe one thing each that we could share with these listeners and viewers that they can have as a takeaway. They bought into the mindset. It's a new nation of motivation. 3 different people with diverse backgrounds and experiences. What is one thing that they can do today to be more mindful of being in the present? Just one thing.
Start loving them. Start loving themselves. Start writing a story about yourself. Start really recapping on what you've experienced and see that it was all a lesson. The moment you start letting go of your past hurts is the moment you see that nobody is stopping you in this life besides you. You have to love yourself and understand that when you love yourself, you will pull yourself out of any hardships, anything. Because the moment you say, hey, I'm changing for me, is the moment you put the ME behind you that pushes you to win.
Okay.
That's it.
So Kervin, let's go just one step deeper, right? Love yourself. Got it. What can someone do today? One thing to love themselves. Give them one idea. One idea.
I could start us off. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to?
So what I did for myself, I built myself an empowerment mirror, and I literally wrote words on there saying, hey, I love myself regardless. I'm unstoppable. I circled it and looked at it for a year. Now I don't need it anymore, because I know the reflection, because you must get comfortable with the reflection. Every time I brushed my teeth, I saw who it was, me. And I was like, yo, nobody's stopping me. So start with that. notebooks, anything. Just start journaling, put notepad stickers on your mirror, or even get an expo marker and just say, hey, I love myself, and start literally doing this every day. And you'll see your cup starts to fill itself up, and you won't empty it anymore because it's all for you to hold. See, he's putting it right on his head because he remembers who he is.
Can't lose sight of that.
Right.
Yeah.
What? So this what was the term that you used, Kervin? What kind of mirror?
Empowerment mirror. Empowerment mirror. So
love it.
I'm writing it in my book. So this book is going to come out soon. So don't even worry. I'm going to write it, and then step by step. It's a simple book too. I call it Love Thyself, because I want to teach you how to love yourself. Most people will say you don't need instructions on this, but some people do.
You gotta celebrate yourself.
Yeah, an empowerment mirror, love it. A sticky note, I love you, I love me. Write yourself a love letter. This isn't a love letter, but it's a letter, a handwritten note from somebody. Write yourself a love letter. Like, who has ever done that? Treat yourself, make yourself feel good, right? Buy yourself some unique cologne off the TikTok shop because you want to smell good and feel good. Treated myself, right? $28, never would have bought it before. And something that I learned is like, I'm treating myself. Darian, what is one thing that you would advise people? What is one task that they can do today to love themselves more?
It's hard to pick one, but I'm going to try to stay within those confines. I would say just go outside, especially if it's nice. Go outside, go on a bike ride, go to, find the nearest trail, hiking trail, anything that gets you kind of outside and just reconnect with life a little bit. Get around animals and get that quiet time, get some peace, allow yourself to be, separated from, I would say, other humans, just to get, a break from society and listen to your heart a little more.
Yeah. And let nature nurture you.
Yes.
Get outside and let nature nurture you. So I think we have three things, right? I'm saying treat yourself to something. Kervin is saying an empowerment mirror. Write yourself a love letter, put up some sticky notes, and get outside, enjoy nature, and let things be silent. So we're almost about 30 minutes into it, Kervin. Shall we go for another 5 minutes or so? We keep on getting more and more people on LinkedIn, which is really cool.
So
start off low, and I think with the energy, it's just going higher and higher and higher, which is really cool.
Okay, so I want to bring back up the old the little vision board that I have, or the poster that I want to get everywhere or on shirts, because we must start the vision. So when we started envisioning the Nation of Motivation, the idea came to me out of nowhere, but I said, you know what? I have 3 friends with me who can encourage me to keep going. So now we have the vision. Now we're putting action behind our words, and we're creating a new reality where we see a nation of motivation. It's kind of crazy how we did it. Now we have to start journaling, meditating, and putting action. We thought it, we wanted it, and we got it. It's crazy how things happen. I don't know, guys. Am I crazy for thinking that this happened kind of like for a reason?
I mean, totally for a reason. For us to be able to, one, as we will share momentarily on the podcast, I went up to introduce myself because I saw a unique friendship with both of you, and I was curious. What are these gentlemen doing together? How do they have their own business? Are they working for someone else? So I opened up my vulnerability to be able to say hello to you all. And then we know when the co-working space went away, just by chance, we happened to see each other at the same coffee shop just the other day. And boy, the conversation got goosebumpable. It got emotional. It got deep, realizing that we're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to help people. And that was not by accident. We hadn't seen each other, gentlemen, for a year. And all of a sudden, I'm in there cranking on the presentation, and you both come in, and we sit down and we kind of break bread together. If you only had shared your pizza, but like that was meant to be. And then one idea led to another idea, to another idea, to another idea. The new nation of motivation.
So that's why I say the more we meditate our minds and dedicate time to, aligning ourselves to what we want in this life, the more you see it come to you. I've been teaching people to, not block themselves from seeing it, because if you don't see it in your life, you'll never allow it, because your mind must see it so you can see it, if you understand what I say. So if you don't see it in your life, it will never come, because your mind says, hey, I can't imagine it. You need to allow your mind to imagine what you want to live by journaling it. You say, hey, I'm writing it down. Now let me meditate my mind and see it. Oh, wow, I did it. And now I'm putting action behind what I said. So it's like the same thing we did right here when we said, hey, let's plan this. Let's get this together. And look at what happened. It was simple.
It was simple. Absolutely right. Yeah. And it reminds me of a study that I read about recently, and maybe our listeners or maybe you both know about it, but it was a study essentially on free throws. And there was one group of individuals that wanted to get better at setting their free throws. So there was three groups. And I believe it was done in Chicago, maybe University of Chicago. Don't quote me. But one group wanted to get better at free throws. So they went into the gym and they shot free throws to get better, to get better, to get better. Great. One set. The next set, all they did together was they envisioned making the free throws, making the free throws, making the free throws. And then one group just wanted to get better at free throws, but didn't envision it, didn't meditate on it, didn't practice it. And the results were like outstanding. The people that actually wanted to practice and physically increased it by like, say, like, I don't know, 24%. But the people that had envisioned it without even touching the ball, it increased like 26%. And it just proves the ability when you are envisioning the reality that you, right, the reality and the vision of what you want to do, what you want to achieve, then you can make it happen. You're sending different types of energy out into this world. And then collectively, people are feeling that type of energy and then are going to gravitate to you. So of our amazing listeners on LinkedIn Live right now and Facebook Live and YouTube, who knows who needs more help? Who knows who has another idea that can contribute to this new nation of motivation? The world works in miraculous ways. I can't wait to see what comes as a result of these conversations.
Yeah, we're sowing
And
seeds right
Bart,
now.
oh Bart, just to
Yeah.
reemphasize what you just said about the importance of visioning, I had seen a study about this runner who he got hurt before marathon, and he was a competitive runner. So he couldn't train before the marathon, but he ended up while he was in the hospital, imagining the whole run, just kept envisioning it the whole time. And by the time he got out there, he actually had ran better than before he got injured. And so they kind of did a study on it and saw that just by envisioning what you're going to do, even if it's like physical, your body will actually adjust and exhibit actual improvements to prepare for that event. So, I mean, that goes hand in hand with anything. If your body could do that for something physical that you're not physically doing, you could do it in preparation for, an accomplishment you want to have or goal you have.
So what could we advise our listeners and followers right now? What could they envision for
Brighter. Next
Kervin,
week? I got you. So next week, I want you to do something for yourself today. If you don't journal for yourself, I want you to start journaling. You say, hey, for the next 90 days, I'm going to improve myself by, looking in the mirror and actually being very accountable for my own actions. The accountability being the one who addresses the elephant in the room. You're the only one who can be the one who sees your life transform. So you must be accountable for your action. The moment you start addressing the elephant in the room yourself and saying, hey, I did this to myself and I can save myself, is the moment you get your power back to say, hey, nothing is stopping me in this life. I can do anything. That's how you start. It starts with that.
And Kervin, since you say journaling, I think it would be important for listeners to get granular. Write down 3 things you want to accomplish by the end of next week, or at least start on by the end of next week. And then circle 1 that must happen, star 1 that you want to happen, and then the last one, consider making it happen, but make it a bigger goal so that you can accomplish the easier goals, but you have in mind the bigger goal that you're also going to work towards.
So it's like a cookie cutter kind of sense. Like, yeah, you say, hey, this is a pie, but I'm gonna cut it into several individuals, and then it's like, hey, one by one, it's gonna fall down. Instead of making it a big thing, make it something small and say, yo, one step
Digestible.
closer, digestible, so you can eat it, not metaphorically, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
Darian,
it helps to be very specific time-wise. The more specific you get, the better it is. This is by this time I'm going to have this accomplished, or at least started on this. And the more specific you get with that goal, like if you're like, I'm going to go to the gym by next week. Well, by next week, I'm going to at least have done 10 pull-ups within the gym, and I'll feel accomplished.
yeah.
Maybe you could specify which gym if you don't have a membership. Just get as granular as possible. And once you go to do that, you'll exhibit less energy because you'll already have done it mentally.
Yeah, Darian, and again, 3 things. One must happen. What was the other one? One must
happen. One thing you want to happen, like something you really desire, and then the last one is something that is tied into a bigger goal that you want to lead into something greater.
All right, excellent. And I'm taking notes and posting them as they come about. And if I could just add to that, also, I want to make sure that we take the pressure off of us, off of each other. So know that you are doing great. That's it. In your heart, know that you are doing great. The other thing, and I shared this when I presented to a group of high school students in Colorado, I said, one gentleman got done what they have competitions, right? Business competitions. And it was a speaking competition for this one gentleman. I think his name was Cole. And so I ran into Cole and I said, Cole, how'd you did? And he was looking down. He's like, I don't think it went so well. I'm like, well, what happened? Well, I got a little nervous and I kind of stuttered in the beginning, and I didn't feel as prepared because they kind of threw me, and I was supposed to do a speech on this presentation, and he just wasn't feeling good. And I said, Cole, just answer this one question. Did you do your best? And he thought about it and he said, yes. And as he said, yes, the rest of the time that I saw him at this conference, his head was not down like this. His head was up. Like, take the pressure off. Just do your best. That's it. So, Darian, as you were talking about, right, using a journal, do your best to use a journal. Got it. Identify 3 things. Do your best to make one thing happen. Do your best to have a stretch goal, and do your best to get something else done, right? Just do your best. And I just did my newsletter today, and it was about folding laundry. That folding laundry can prolong your life, meaning you're getting something done. You're accomplishing something. You're in control of something. So when you can be in control of doing your best, pressure's off, baby. I did my best. It wasn't perfect. I didn't say all the right words today, but I did my best. We did our best. You listeners, that's going up and up and up. You are doing your best today. Take the pressure off. Take the pressure off. And that's the last thing I'm going to say, I promise.
Well said.
We love hearing you speak, Bart.
Yeah, for real. Like, go ahead. Because at first I was like, hey, you know what? How do you motivate yourself? Like, how do you wake up every day, Bart, and you say, hey, I'm going to go motivate the world? Like, what do you do? Do you start with gratitude? Do you start with the mirror? What is it like? Oh, yeah, that's how. Give us a little tidbit, because I want to start adding things. Because the more we start sharing.
Wow. Okay. So, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I have these crazy vivid dreams at night, and I'm not well rested. And it's everything. Last night, without getting into too much detail, I had a dream that I lost my volleyball jacket from Penn State, my volleyball jacket, very near and dear to me. And it was at a daycare center. And for some reason, 2-level daycare center, I lost this jacket. So all night I'm looking for this jacket. My son is coming and help me find this jacket. My wife, like all of the vivid, like I could write a screenplay about the vivid dreams. So when I wake up, I'm not in the best of moods. Like, I'm not like, oh, I'm refreshed. Let's go after the day, right? So I have to change my thinking from usually, and it's probably, the supplements and everything else that I'm taking, but I don't usually wake up feeling very well rested and very energized. So what I do, make the bed every single day. Every single day. And if I'm out of bed first, I'll wait until my wife is out of bed and then I'll make the bed, right? And then I will do a load of laundry. And it sounds like the silliest things, but it is my way of being able to control something in my day in the direction that I want to go. I will also wait at least, I try always to wait at least 60 minutes to look at social media or to look at my phone, because what if I see, Darian got a gig that I should have gotten, or my best friend from high school was in town and they didn't invite me to go to dinner with them, or I wasn't like, if I can deliberate my day by not looking at that stuff, I'm going to start my day in the right direction for at least an hour. I stretch, I take the dogs for a walk, I fast, I drink water before coffee. So those are just a couple of things that kind of begin to deliberate my day. It's going down the path that I feel best at. And I share that with whoever wants to listen. And then whatever I learn from Darian, that you wake up and you meditate, I'm going to try to incorporate that into my life. And Kervin, whenever you wake up, you lift weights, I'm probably going to try to incorporate that into my life. So it's all of these things, whatever works for you. But thank you for asking. That's kind of what I do. I need to get on the right path very, very quickly.
No, it's because I wanted the insight of like saying like, it's a ritual we don't naturally just build it, like have this energy to just be motivated all the time. It's like, no, I have to build this in myself. Like I literally had to start doing certain things every day, like for myself, like, hey, before I get out of bed, I literally put on meditation music, lay there and just start, okay, let me start reflecting on what happened yesterday. And let me start thinking about today. Because the moment you start thinking about today, you start bringing in ideas of like, oh, what do I want to do today? What am I going to do? What's the message? What do I want to spread? Who do I want to see? What do I want to do? You have to start ensuing these things in yourself. Because the moment you start getting excited about the day, the moment you say, hey, nothing's stopping me. I am here for a reason, not for a season. I've been telling people that all the time. You're here for a reason, not for a season.
Yeah.
And Kervin, just to highlight something that Bart said, that I know we have veterans listen, so they'll probably enjoy this tidbit. Is that's making your bed is actually something that it's funny. The Sergeant Major of the Army really harps on. He had a whole talk about it. How that's like the start of your day. You get control on setting up or accomplishing at least one thing, and that sets up a domino effect for the rest of your day. You've knocked out the most simple task, and that's going to get done. You can find fulfillment, and then your mind gravitates towards more fulfillment throughout the day.
Yeah.
It's one thing too, but think about it. Where you rest your head, you want to make sure that it's always laid and prepared for you to rest. If you have unrest where you lay your head to rest, you'll always have unrest. So it's like a simple task to like, hey, let me fix this. Let me set myself up to lay down and just let go.
Organize your thoughts while you're organizing your bed too.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think we came up with I think we all shared a bunch of tidbits, right? Mm-hmm. There is value because we shared what is working for us. Here's the other last thing that I want to comment on, gentlemen, and to our listeners, that this is what most of us are doing full time. Okay. Mm-hmm. We are thinking about how we can help others full time. You are listening during your lunch break, perhaps if you're East Coast, or during a breakfast break, or maybe you're working from home and you're just listening to this. The things that you are going through, we probably have already gone through them. I just want to be very kind of candid. 35 years of corporate America for me. And now all I do is talk to people and figure out solutions on how to make people feel better. Mm-hmm. Kervin, that's all you do 24 hours a day. Darian, I know you're involved with multiple projects and both of you are founders of a company as well, but that's what you're doing in the background at least 22 hours a day. And the experiences of what you both have as military veterans, you are bringing a lot of different perspectives, a lot of different experiences to create this new nation of motivation.
Well said. Yeah, said. Well said. So I'm guessing we're going to close it out. So For the moderator for the first time, for the first episode of the Nation of Motivation, my name is Kervin Hart. I'm available on all social medias. I am an empowerment coach. I do all this for free. This is all for you to understand that your life is for you to live it all the way through. Live it to the destiny that you always see. Close your eyes and just see. You are destined for greatness. Love yourself and you'll see. That's all I have to say. On to the next ones.
Yeah, and Kervin, remind people how they can find you on TikTok as well.
On TikTok, you can find me. It is the same name you see right here. You can find me. I'm on all social medias. There's no way you can't find me. If you're hiding from me, I'm gonna find you. I'm just kidding.
Darian?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. You can message me at Darian Collette, or I'm building up my TikTok right now. It's Go Darian on TikTok. Basically, whole premise behind it is just empowering yourself. So you can find me TikTok, LinkedIn, and feel free to reach out for anything.
Yeah, amazing. And then Bart Berkey, founder of Most People Don't. Easiest way to find out information about me. One, I'm the only Bart Berkey in the world, which is kind of cool. That's kind of cool. And you can find a lot of information on mostpeopledon't.com. We're going to be broadcasting Darian and Kervin's podcast in which I interviewed them. Great takeaways. You can learn more about their unique friendship and what is driving them to want to help others. It's a great story. And our podcast, top 2% in the world, which is just amazing, and proud to be part of this new nation of motivation. I know we will come up with centralized places for people to learn more about us collectively, to see how we can help people further. So, Kervin, well done with moderating. Thank you for kicking us off. Darian, what a pleasure to know you as a human being. And I guess we'll sign off from there. But thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you.
You guys have a great day.
Great one.